Suppose if I want to identify what type of array, then I'm going to call the property rank. Suppose if I want to display the array element in the descending order or in the reverse order, then I'm going to use the method called reverse. Instead of static memory allocation, if I go with dynamic memory allocation based on my program requirement, I'm going to allocate the memory. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on methods in C#. I'm Revati, faculty from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to revise the topic which I have covered in my last session. So dear student, in my last session, I started with what is array. So what is array here? It's nothing but the collection of homogeneous element. What is homogeneous element? That's nothing but the collection of same kind of element and which is grouped under same name, and it uses continuous memory location. Now, what are the different types of arrays we discussed? That is single dimensional array. So what is single here? That is nothing but 1D. So what is 1D? That is nothing but one index. Then if I consider second type, that is multi-dimension. So what is multi-dimension here? That's nothing but the 2D or 3D. And this type of array is known as rectangular array. Along with that, I have covered jagged array. So what is jagged array? That is nothing but the array within array. That means when I create array within the array, then it is coined as jagged array. So these are the three type of arrays I have discussed in my previous session. But in my today's session, I'm going to deal with what is system.array class. Along with that, I'm going to deal with properties of the array class, methods of the array class. Along with that, I'm going to deal with Arraylist class. In that, I'm going to deal with methods and properties of Arraylist class as well as methods of the Arraylist class. Anyway, dear student, let's start our today's session with the topic, the system array class. So dear student, we all are familiar with the word array. So what is array? Nothing but the collection of. So what is collection here? There's nothing but the more than one element is known as collection of. Homogeneous. So what is homogeneous? There's nothing but the same kind of element grouped under same name is known as array. If I consider C# programming, I'm going to have the array of object, and where I'm going to get the array of object, that is nothing but in our system.array. So dear student, the array class is the base class. So dear student, I have the class called array, and where this class is present under this system. So what is array class here? That is nothing but the base class for all the kinds of arrays which is present in the C#. Now what is system here? Your system is nothing but the namespace. It is defined in the system namespace. So what this system namespace actually, it includes methods as well as the data members. as well as property. So the array class provides various properties as well as methods. That means when I consider array class, that includes what are the things, that is properties as well as methods that require to work with the arrays. So these are the some of the example for properties of the array class. What is the first example I'm going to have? That is fixed size. So what is the meaning of is fixed size? So I'm going to check whatever the array I have, that is of type fixed size or not. So it returns or gets a value indicating whether the array has fixed size or not. For example, if I write int a equal to new int of 5. So what's the fixed size of this array? It is nothing but the 5. So to get the size of the array, I'm going to use is fixed size. And another property that is read only. So it returns the value that is whether the array is read only or not. Then length. It is going to return the length. And what is the length here? It is 32-bit integer. Then if I go with long length, then it returns 64-bit integer that represent the total number of element which is present in all the dimensions of array. Then rank. So it gets the rank. So what is rank here? That is nothing but the index. Suppose if I want to identify what type of array, then I'm going to call the property rank that returns the rank. That's nothing but the number of dimensions of the array. Is it one dimension or multi-dimension or jagged array? Then I'm going to have clear. So what is this clear? This is nothing but the methods. So dear student, if I consider system dot array. So this array is present in this system namespace, and this array class holds properties as well as methods. And what method this array class supports? That is nothing but the clear. So if I want to clear all the array element, then I can able to call the method called clear. Set a range of elements in the array to 0. So it's mainly used to clear or initialize to 0. And copy. It allows the method to copy. That means, see, copies a range of elements from an array starting at the first element and parts them into another array starting at the first element. The length is specified as a 32-bit integer. Suppose if I want to copy two array, then I'm going to specify array 1 and I'm going to specify array 2 and I'm going to specify what type of array. So it is int 32. Now copy 2 copies all the element of the current one dimension array into specified one dimension array. So dear student, if I consider copy 2, it is responsible for copying the current array element to specified array element and the index specified as 32-bit integer. So what is int 32? That is nothing but the index used to specify. It is 32-bit integer. Now, what's the difference between copy and copy 2? Here, I'm going to specify my first array as well as second array as well as index. But if I consider copy 2 means what? I have present array. From present array, I want to copy the element to another array. So, it is copy 2. Then get length. It is mainly used to get the length of the array. So, and what it is? It is 32-bit integer. Now, suppose if I want to get long length. So, long length in the sense what? 64-bit. In that time, I can able to use the method get long length. Now, what is the need of get lower bound? So, dear student, if I consider array, it is nothing but the collection of elements. Now, I want to identify each element uniquely. How can I? For that, I am going to have the index. So, dear student, if I want to get the lower index, in that time, I am going to call the method called get lower bound. So, gets the lower bound of the specified dimension in the array. For example, think that I have one-dimensional array and I want to know the lower bound. For example, think that I have three elements, 3, 7 and 8. Now, 3, what's the index of 3? 0, it is 1 and it is 2. Now, if I want to get the lower index, what is my lower index? That is 0. To get 0, what I am going to do? I am going to call get lower bound. Now, get type. So, it is mainly used to return or retrieve the present type of data. So, what is the data type here? It's nothing but the integer. So, gets the type of the current instance, that is inherited from object. Get upper bound. So, what is get upper bound? It's nothing but the returns the last index. Gets the upper bound of the specified dimension in the array. So, gets the value at the specified position. For example, think that I want to get 7th element or element 7. And where it is present? It's present at the location or position 1. Now, to get the element 7 which is present at the location 1, what I required? I required this method, that is get value. So, it returns the specified value at the position in the one-dimensional array and the index is specified as 32-bit integer. Now, I am going to have index of. So, searches for the specified object. That means if I use index of and I want to specify the array, along with that I want to specify the object. And this method is responsible for searching for the specified object. So, whatever the object I have specified, it is responsible for searching that object and returns the index of the first occurrence within the entire one-dimensional array. Now, reverse. So, what is the meaning of reverse? Suppose if I want to display the array element in the descending order or in the reverse order, then I am going to use the method called reverse. Set value. Suppose if I want to set the value to the elements at the specified position. So, dear student, if I want to insert any new element to the existing array, then that can be achieved by using set value. Sort array. So what is the need of sort? Suppose if I want to arrange the element in some order, that may be in the form of ascending or that may be in the form of descending, then I can able to use the method called sort. So it sorts the element in an entire one-dimensional array. Now I'm going to have the concept called Arraylist class. It represents an ordered collection of objects. So dear student, when I have only one object, then it is array class. But when I have more than two, that's nothing but the collection of ordered object, then it is called array list. So what is array list here? It's nothing but the representation of an ordered collection of an object that can be indexed individually. So it is basically an alternative to an array. Suppose if I want to provide any alternative to an array, then I can able to use array list. Array, you can add and remove item from a list at a specified location or position using an index, and the array resizes itself automatically. That means if I consider array list, by using array list, we can able to add the array element. We can able to remove the array element at the specified location, even though we can able to resize the array list automatically, and it allows dynamic memory allocation and adding, searching, sorting item in the list. That means if I consider array, we are going to use static memory allocation. And if I go with static memory allocation, what is the disadvantage? It is nothing but the wastage of memory, and at the beginning itself I am going to allocate some memory space. But instead of static memory allocation, if I go with dynamic memory allocation based on my program requirement, I am going to allocate the memory. By using dynamic memory allocation, adding a new element or deleting an element or searching of an element, all those things are carried out very effectively. So some of the methods that comes under array list are capacity. So what is capacity here? There is nothing but the size. So gets or sets the number of elements that the array list can contain. So dear student, we can manually able to set the size. So number of element is nothing but size. Okay, that means how many element I can able to have in my array. And count gets the total number of elements actually present in the array list. Is fixed size. It is used to check whether the array list is fixed size or not. Then is read only. It returns the value indicating whether the array list is read only or not. Item gets or sets the element at the specified index. Along with that, I am going to have some methods. So what is my method here? Add. So public virtual int add and object value. So add. It is responsible for adding an object to the end of the array list. Suppose if I want to add any new object to my existing array list, then I can able to use the method called add. Add range. What is add range? Add the element of I collection to the end of array list. So think that I have specified some range. Now if I want to extend the range of an array list, then I can able to use add range. Okay, and where I'm going to add at the end of the previous array list. Clear. It's mainly used to clear or remove all the elements from the array list. Then contains. I'm going to check whether my array list includes any element or not. So if this array list contains any object, then it returns true value. If the array list is empty, then this method returns false value, indicating that empty array list. Then I'm going to have array list get range. Returns the array list which represents a subset of the element in the source array list. So array list get range, I have int index and int count. That means think that I have array list. In that array list, I am going to get the subset of an array, and that can be done by using get range method. Now I am going to have index of. Returns the zero based index of the first occurrence of the value in the array list or in the portion of it. So index of, it returns the index of the array. That means it is responsible for returning the object which is present in the array list. I am going to have insert. So what is the meaning of insert? Suppose if I want to insert any new object to the existing array list, then I can able to insert by using the method called insert, and I'm going to specify the index. That means where I want to insert the object, and I'm going to specify the object value. And insert range. Dear student, when I have to insert only one object, then I can able to use insert method. Suppose if I want to insert more than two value and I want to specify from where to where I want to insert the object. In that time, I'm going to use insert range method. And remove. So remove the first occurrence of this specified object. So dear student, if I consider remove method, what I'm going to pass? I'm going to pass an object that indicates that which object I want to remove from the array list. Now remove at. So what is remove at? I'm going to specify from which index I want to remove the object. For that, I'm going to use remove at. Now, remove range. Suppose if I want to remove more than two objects, then I'm going to specify the index range from where to where I want to remove the object. So, these are the some of the method present in the array list. So, dear student, in my today's class, I started with what is array class. Along with that, I have discussed some of the properties as well as methods of array class. Along with that, I have discussed what is array list. Along with that, I have covered some of the properties and methods of array list. So dear student, in my next session, I am going to deal with C# strings, and how to create a string object. Along with that, I'm going to deal with string versus string and C hash string methods. Anyway, dear student, let's meet in the next session with the new concept called strings. Until that, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.